we're going to cross over into fiction. I did practice some short stories in prison that were fiction. The reason they ended up getting published was actually because I won a prize for a short story that was fiction. But what I've done is, my life story is a 15-year project, and the guys I was serving time with, I feel bonded with them for life, because they're the only guys that understand 100% what we went through. Most of them are still in there. And when you go through a situation that's that intense with these people, you get this really, really strong bond, which is what I have. And I promised them I was going to keep those stories going on the internet, because it's a bridge to the outside world for them, because they get books and letters sent to them from all over the place. And I promised them that after I finish my life story, I'm going to put their life stories out as individual books. So that's going to take another 10 years, on top of the 15 years for my own life story. So that's another mission I'm on, because I'm in a position to make a difference in those guys' lives. There's someone, you know, before I got arrested, I thought prison was just full of Hannibal Lecter types. You know, lock them up, throw away the key. I was just like anyone else, you know, I didn't understand it. But most people in there are non-violent drug offenders. That's how they fill the prisons up, keep the profits going. And I did meet some extreme characters in there as well. And as much as I met extreme characters who were threatening me, I met extreme characters who just protected me. One example is Two Tonys. He was a mafia mass murderer who left dead bodies from Tucson to Alaska. He claimed they all had it coming because they were rival gangsters. If you've murdered gangsters, you're at the top of the respect order on the yard. He was serving 112 years. I started blogging his story, and he was very popular. He thought it was the coolest thing in the world. You know, a school teacher out of Singapore could write and ask him about his mafia life. And he had me in his cell every day. He had prisoners stationed outside watching for guards, writing down his life story. And he said to me, you know, even if you don't make it as an offer, you're always my horse, you don't have to come in, I'm always backing you. And I had problems with the Aryan Brotherhood prison gang, and Two Tonys made them go away from me. He pulled in some favours. But sadly he died a few years ago from liver cancer from his own drug taking as well. And he never got to read Hard Time, even though it was published before he died. I sent it in about 5 different times to him from 5 different people. State of Arizona Department of Corrections have got my book classified as a threat to the security of the institution, so they won't let it in. I photocopied the entire thing, took out the title pages, sent it to a friend in Ohio so they wouldn't know it was coming from England. She mailed it to the prison. They even identified that. So sadly he never got to read Hard Time. Yeah, but I'm gonna be doing his life story. Is going to be one of the first I'm going to be doing. He dictated it all to me in his cell. Yeah, so I don't see scope really for crossing over to fiction. Maybe I could do some short stories. I'm going to take a break from the books. I've just finished Prison Time. It should be published next year. And I've read about 20-30 different prison books now. And they're nearly all the same thing, you know, the gangs, the violence, the cockroaches. So I wanted to make this one different. So it's quite homoerotic. No one's written about all the sex stuff that goes on in prison. I noticed in all these other books. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I didn't participate in it, but I got people coming on to me all a variety of creative ways all the way through it. And I think this is fascinating. Pardon? So I think this is a fascinating angle for the public. And one of the characters I'm writing about, Max, he's got a fascinating story himself. I'm going to put his story out as an e-book next after I finish Prison Time. I'm going to call it Zucchini, the sexual awakening of Max in prison. Okay, anyone else on that note? Anyone else got anything?
Yep. So, did you get attached yourself? Because I know someone who is in prison in England, and he's seen people stab themselves, kill themselves, get raped, and he's seen stuff that he won't talk about. And I just wondered if you experienced that yourself.
Yeah, I saw people laugh at dead, and you go into complete and utter shock when you see that. I saw a guy that the skinhead gang Yeah, the guy in the shower. There's way more detail in the book. They smashed him, and they came out, and this big guy with cobwebs tattooed down his neck said, "How come we can still hear him?" Because he was whimpering in the pool of blood. He goes, "Oh, we smashed him good, dog. Not good enough." So he just walks in and gets his head like he's smashing on the coconut. Crack, 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 crack. The body's just on the floor, and a guard does a security walk. It's like, "Lock down, everybody, lock down." So we all go back to our cells. And I've never seen violence at this level before, so I put my face to the window because I want to see what's going on. And he's on a stretcher and he looks dead. And there's not just blood coming out of his head, there's yellow fluid, brain stuff. Yeah, and I still have nightmares about all the violence that I saw. I didn't get attacked in the remand jail because over 100 people were arrested with me, including some of my bouncers from the raids, including a best mate of mine from my hometown called Wildman, who's twice my size. At the Northern book launch, which we did a couple of weeks before this one, Wildman could barely fit through the door. Yeah, so he was protecting me when I first went in, and it enabled me to make some alliances. Now, when I got moved to the prison system, I didn't know anyone, and I got attacked right away. And I start out prison time with the situation. I go to this cell, my new cellmate, his welcoming statement. Well, first off, he's a serial home invader, torturer. He was breaking into people's houses, and his preferred method of torture was to take a hammer to the kneecaps. And he's welcoming to stake me the night I move in. I've got a padlock in a sock. I can smash your brains in while you sleep. I can kill you whenever I want. Really nice guy. So he was very sneaky. He knew my mum and dad were flying 5,000 miles to come and see me. Because the things you look forward to the most in prison are your visits and your mail. So we got his mate, this 20-stone California biker, to attack me just when I'm walking to the visit with my parents. You know, and I have no idea. I'm just walking along as happy as can be. And this big guy comes up behind me and starts kidney punching me. And I've not got any karate training at this point in time, so I'm like, you know, start throwing some kicks and punches. It's like hitting a big bag of cement. And he was a kickboxer. Yeah, so he smashed my back up real good. Fortunately, a guard come before he could stomp me. And I go to the visit all injured, and my mum's asking me what's wrong, and I can't tell her because, you know, she's already had a nervous breakdown over the situation. When I got back from the visit, the cellmate, he's getting higher on crystal meth and heroin, and he's acting crazier towards me, keeping me awake all night, interrogating me. He's even showing me the padlock in the sock that he's going to smash my head in with. And it was the only time I got so scared I asked for outside help. I called my family and said, "Look, can you put a call in to the British Embassy and see if the embassy will call the prison and get me moved, because I can't sleep. I think this guy's going to kill me in my sleep." But if the embassy called the prison, this guy's not got to get in trouble because of what I've said, because if he does, the gang will realize I'm a snitch and everyone's going to want to kill me. Fortunately, the embassy handled it appropriately and I was moved without getting him in any trouble. He's throwing batteries at me for a couple of weeks afterwards. So I got a cellmate who was bigger than him, who had words, and stopped after that. Yeah. Another one of the guys who started protecting me was T-Bone, 6.5 foot, former Marine, trained to kill, seen action in South America. This guy was incredible. He wasn't just, the first time he came to my cell door, he just completely blocked the sunlight out. You know, he's just got his pants on. He's covered in these massive scars, looks like someone's cut him up and sewn him back together again. His whole body, every single scar was a different life and death prison fight story. But not only was he standing up for himself, he was stopping the raping of the young people. He was risking his life over and over. And he was within inches of losing his life, because he wasn't just going in and knocking them out, he was getting stabbed, hit in the head with no reward whatsoever. He was just doing that because he's got a big heart. You know, and he was making